and welcome back to another episode of Spotlight with Sahara Ramkissoon. And today I have with me Krisann Bedassie, the first person from Trinidad and Tobago to be accepted into the Yale Young Global Scholars Program. Krisann, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good, excited. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. That's what we love to hear. Now
Yes.
let's begin this interview with something very whimsical and fun.
Okay.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I'd say I'm one, curious, because I'm always asking questions. I'm always trying to learn something new. I would say that I'm steady because I'm always trying to remain consistent in all my efforts, whether it's extracurricular activities or academic pursuits. And the third and last word that I would use is thoughtful, because I always like to put thought into whatever I'm doing. Because what is an activity if you're not passionate or you think about what you're doing,
Very true, and that's such a powerful way to sum yourself up. And I feel like those 3 words really set the tone for everything that we're going to hear. Now, on to my next question. Tell us a little bit about your background, your school life, and what started this passion for leadership and service.
Okay. Well, like everybody, I went to preschool, and then when I got to preschool, it was time to go to primary school, and I kicked off my primary school journey at Grand Memorial. But plot twist, I did not stay there for the full 7 years. I actually transferred to Arima West after my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. Still surviving, still strong, you can do it too. I transferred to Arima West Government. I went there up until second year to Standard 2. But when I got to Standard 2, I knew that I wanted to pass for my first choice school, St. Joseph's Convent, San Fernando. And that was in San Fernando. So my mom was like, okay, but we're gonna have to move there. I went to San Fernando Girls Government School. I did Standard 2 there, but my mom decided to make me repeat because she thought that there were some things that I still had not fully grasped as yet. So she moved me to Standard 2 to repeat that year, and I repeated it. I did well, passed my first choice school, living the dream. I graduated literally yesterday. And when I got to secondary school, I was heavily encouraged to enjoy and take part of the many clubs at my school. When I was in Form 3, I did something that is very unusual for Form 3, and I was put into the position of UNESCO Club President. Because of that position, I was forced to become a leader, even though the kids I were leading, they were like much older than I was. They were driving, they had IDs, and I was telling them what to do. And because of my role there, I was forced to become a good leader, but it kind of sparked my passion for leadership and civics.
Wow, what an inspiring journey and an emotional roller coaster. I think that it's really amazing to hear how your roots have changed your journey into leadership and service. Now, onto my next question. So, Krisann, I know that you've made absolute history as the first person from Trinidad and Tobago, our lovely country, to be accepted into the Yale Young Global Scholars Program.
Yes.
So, tell us, how did you first learn about the program and what made you apply?
Well, I first learned about the program by looking into their school. I knew that I wanted to go to a school that offered a great international relations course, and Yale was the perfect check. It would be like going to the convent version, but international.
And plus Ivy League, right?
Ivy League, that's like a big plus. So I looked into Yale. I thought this is definitely the school that I want to go to, and by looking at them, I discovered Yale Young Global Scholars, which is abbreviated as YYGS. You know the story. I applied for YYGS, and I applied because I wanted an opportunity to broaden my perspective, broaden my horizons. My mom and I had earlier visited a career fair, and I realized that I had nothing to lose by putting myself out there. So I applied, and the rest is history.
Honestly, that shows real initiative. I know so many students and so many people who wouldn't even know where to begin. And you just went for it.
Yeah.
Just dived right in. Now, what was your reaction when you got the acceptance letter? Can you describe that moment for us?
Well, it was a big moment, big deal. Yale told us after a rigorous application and the results would be released on March 15th, I believe. And I looked at the application portal all day, no change. So I knew that the results would be released at the dead last minute, midnight. So my mom and I, we had a plan. We set an alarm for midnight. I slept by my tablet in Prairie Grove. I opened it, I checked the portal, and they had an update. And when I opened it, I was just so amazed and grateful to see all the little Ys and bulldogs pop up on the screen and the big thing being advertised. Congratulations, Krisann Bedassie, you've been admitted to YYGS. And I was so excited. I went outside to tell my mom, but I didn't even have to tell her anything because she knew just by looking into my eyes that I had gotten in. We told everybody, and it was just such a big moment for me, and I'm genuinely so grateful for it.
That must have just been surreal. Like you're telling me like that exact moment, and I'm legitimately getting goosebumps. Now, I know, Krisann, that you've shared you want to become a United Nations ambassador.
Yes.
That's one big dream.
It is.
What drives that goal, and why do you?
So, like I've said before, I was pushed into my UNESCO club, and because of my work in that club, be it anything that we do to, go about affecting change, I was so in love with what the UN stood for. They didn't just advocate for justice for the big first world countries, they advocated for justice for everyone. And I thought, what better way to be in service than by working in an initiative, well, an initiation like the United Nations. And so I applied for it, I got in, and I got into YYGS. And because of YYGS, I'm so grateful for all the work that I've had done with the UNESCO Club, because they really helped broaden my horizons. And I just feel like being an ambassador is the right thing to do.
That is such a big, bold dream, and clearly, with all of that backstory and such an amazing backstory, clearly that you're already making moves to it, and I can just see you representing us one day on that big global stage. Now let's shift a little and talk about something deeper. What are some of the global issues or causes you're passionate about tackling one day?
So I'm passionate about tackling all 17 SDGs. So if you don't know what an SDG is, it's a sustainable development goal that the United Nations has developed, and they would like these goals to be accomplished by 2030. Now, I'm passionate about all of those goals, but there are a few that, are tied to my heart. So some of those include SDG 4, quality education, especially because I've had access to quality education. I feel like everybody should have that right, and it should not just be a right. It shouldn't be a right, it should be a basic commodity.
Yeah, like
it should
not
be a luxury.
Yeah.
I'm also very passionate about zero hunger. Like I said, I love food. Food is amazing. Snacks too, So
and
zero
everybody
hunger.
should have that.
Everybody should have that. I'm also passionate about reducing inequalities, not just for women, but everybody in general. One person should not have access to something more than the other simply because of race, sex, where you come from, or anything like that. So those are some things that I'm extremely passionate about.
I genuinely think that those are really important, and it's so empowering to see someone at our age group thinking on that level.
I try.
Now, on to my next question. Ooh, this is a fun one. This is the halftime icebreaker questions where we relax and get to know the fun side of our interviewee. Now, if you could switch lives with any character from a book or a movie for one day, who would it be and why?
I would switch characters with Princess Mia from Princess Diaries. I know it sounds super gilly and super cringy, but I promise you it's a great movie. It's about Mia becoming a princess, even though she had no idea that she was a princess. She was plunged into this world of royalty and diplomacy, kind of like how I became president, unaware and uncertain of what was going to follow me. But because of her friend Lily Moscovich, she decided that she had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to affect change and be a global leader, and that's kind of something that I would like to be. I would like to be a global leader, so I would like to switch lives with Princess Mia because I'd basically be me, just I'd have like tiaras and super pretty dresses and live in a castle,
I've never seen the Princess Diaries.
You should watch it.
Like I said, I've never seen it. I've only seen like little clips.
Yeah.
And first of all, biggest goal of the century.
Yes.
Second of all, I honestly love that, especially the scene where she defends the girl from the boys in the kingdom of Genovia. I believe.
Yes, it is.
I love her for that, and I would go with, if it was up to me, I would go with, when I wrote down this question, I was honestly thinking Harvey Specter from Suits.
Yeah.
But then I'm on season 8, so honestly thinking back at all that trauma, I could never do that. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
he's tough. He
Yeah.
almost got this bad like 5 times.
So honestly, I would go with Lewis because although he has a lot of trauma, I feel like he just forgot about it and he's just weird.
He's very
In a
passionate
good way.
and he's very determined. And when you look at his good qualities, I think anybody would like to be.
Either Lewis or one of his cats because, oh my god, he treats those things like royalty.
I know.
Now, let's get out of Manhattan, let's get out of Genovia and come back
Yes.
to Trinidad. Who is someone you look up to, who inspires you most locally or globally?
Right. So I know it's gonna sound cliche, but it'll have to be my mom.
That's not cliche at all. It's my mom to me as
Yeah. My mom is my biggest supporter. She's like my best friend. She doesn't just choose not to love me because I make a mistake or anything. I mean, don't get me wrong. We do argue. We do get into our little rifts. But at the end of the day, she's my mommy wommy. You know, she's my bestie. So I'm really grateful to have her in my life. I look up to her because she sets a good example for me. She goes without so that I can have something. She is such a great person, and I think everybody deserves to have a great mom in their life.
That is such a beautiful tribute, and it's genuinely clear to see how much the impact has affected your very outlook on life.
Yes.
Now, Krisann, I know that you've also been recognized with a National Youth Award in Health and Wellness.
Yes.
And if you know me, I also won a youth award in Learning and Academia.
Yes.
But tell us, what did that award mean to you personally?
So I was nominated for that award by my teacher. It was totally unexpected, and it was influenced by my role in home education when they were advocating for girls and women's mental health particularly. I was able to participate in the Commission of the Status of Women, the 68th conference held at the United Nations for that particular cause. And because of my work there and within my school and through my UNESCO club, I was able to win this award. It was amazing for me because I got recognized. And you know, some people think that recognition is superficial, but it's always good when someone commends your good deeds because everybody likes to pay attention to the bad stuff that youths do. But it was such a refreshing thing to see so many other youths being recognized. There were over 60 of us there, and it just reaffirmed that Trinidad and Tobago is genuinely in great hands.
That must have been such a proud moment and clearly a reminder that all the hard work that you do is really paying off.
Yes.
Now, Krisann, I know that you've done spoken word, advocacy, and public speaking.
Yes.
That's a lot. Why do you think it's important for young people to use their voice?
Well, first of all, there's nobody like you anywhere out there, which means that all your thoughts, your ideas, they are unique to you and who you are. So I think that you should use your voice because there's nobody else like you. Your opinions, your values, your thoughts, they are unique, they are special, and they have the power to affect change. Simply because you're younger doesn't eliminate you as a person. You can have input. You are allowed to have input, and you should not be deterred simply because someone is older than you. We young people bring something new to the table. We bring a new perspective. We are the new generation. We are literally going to be, as I said in another interview, we are going to be handing out the pensions. Okay? That's going to be us. So
Yeah.
you need to make sure that we are a very big part of the decision making because we are going to be making the decisions.
That's very true. Youth are the future, and that was just so well said. And we all know you are a great example of how speaking up can really open doors and spark change for a lot of people, including yourself. Now, let's talk about something a bit deeper. What message do you have for students in Trinidad and Tobago who feel like their dreams are too big or impossible?
Well, first of all, your dreams can never be too big. Everybody likes to see that because we're from Trinidad and Tobago, well, it's a little dot on the map that, you know, we're insignificant. But trust me, that's not true. Our country is so unique, and we have such a unique blend of culture, diversity, ethnicity, races. We're just a beautiful place. And in this place, we have a lot of negativity often, but that should not deter you from trying to make your dreams goals and your goals a reality with God and hard work. Everybody can make their dreams a reality, and they should not be defined by how small your country is or if it's a dot on the map. We can do great things, we can be big people in a small country. So don't let those things deter you because your dreams are never
That's just the kind of message that somebody out there might need to hear today. I mean, you never know whose lives you just affected with those words. Great words, I must say.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about something a bit more personal. How do you balance school, leadership, and your personal passions? I mean, what's a typical day like for Krisann Bedassie?
Well, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not the richest person in the world. My life is pretty much very predictable. I have to live with my mom, I eat, I go to school, come back home, do homework. I might sign up for a competition, take part in that, watch some TV with my mom. But when I'm doing something and I feel tired, I like to remind myself why I got into doing that in the first place. And when you are reminded by the purpose of your actions, then you feel motivated to actually do what you have to do. I also don't sign up for something that will compromise the effort that I put into another activity. Your activity should never, overpower the other. But my first priority in regard to my activities would always be my education because the education that we learn and that we have is the key out of so many difficult challenges that we find ourselves in. So the main thing is don't let one activity compromise the work that you put into another activity and always remain passionate about what you're doing. Because when you're passionate, you're determined to achieve your goals.
That's some great advice, and it kind of sounds like a full plate that you have going on,
Yeah.
but it seems like you've really found your rhythm. Impressive.
Thank you.
Now, going back on the topic of education, if you could create a program or initiative to help students out in Trinidad and Tobago, what would it look like?
I would create a program that helps students with things that are often overlooked. So that program would probably feature educating children on what the SAT exams are, or
that's-
showing children how to make a resume, outlining how do you go about signing up for a credit card, how do you navigate using a computer, and how is it different to using a phone, showing children the importance of learning how to become technologically savvy to manage and navigate a technologically developing world.
Yeah,
I
train them
would
young.
help them with these things because there are a lot of people who don't know how to do all of these things and they become very important skills that you need to have in order to successfully thrive in a new world. So that would be my program. Would you sign up for my program, Sahara?
Definitely, I would get my kids in there ASAP. That is such
Good.
a thoughtful vision, and it really reflects your heart for community service. Now, on to my next question. Fast forward 10 years from now, what do you hope to have accomplished by then?
Right, so I wrote CSAT recently, so I'm hoping that my grades come out looking fly. I'm hoping that my school takes me back for Form 6 and that I do great in Cape. I'm hoping to actually get a full scholarship to Yale University, not just their summer program, but to actual Yale and study at the Jackson School of Global and International Affairs. Sealed, signed, and delivered, right? I'm hoping that I make good friends, that I get a good job out of university, that I have a good salary so that I'm able to take care of my mom, go shopping, and not have to worry about if my card's gonna decline.
That's
Number
one priority.
I'm hoping that I get a nice husband, maybe get married or something. I don't know, again, like boys, I'm hoping that, I'm just generally happy and content with where I am in life because, life is so complicated and I know that, I'm not going to have a smooth adulthood, but I want to be prepared for whatever comes so that I can efficiently handle my life.
I love just how clear your vision is, how you already have everything set out. And I just know that 10 years from now, we will all be looking back at this very moment saying, she did what she said she would.
Apparently, that'd be really cool.
And finally, on to my last question. If every young person in Trinidad and Tobago was watching this interview right now, as we speak, what would you say to them? What would your message be to them?
Big question. So I would probably build on my answer about having dreams that are too big. You should not limit yourself to the size of your country when you're thinking about the dreams or the goals that you have in life. Regardless of who you are, where you come from, what your gender is, you can do anything you put your mind to with God and hard work. I never believed that I would have had such a great opportunity like Yale Young Global Scholars program, but I put myself out there, and you should too. The only thing you have to risk is defeat, and there's nothing wrong with defeat because we learn from these experiences, and these experiences make us a better person. So I would say strive, work hard, and take advantage of every opportunity because I guarantee you life is full of so many moments, and you should definitely take part in it.
I just think that's a message that deserves to echo across this whole nation to every kid in the world. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. You have me feeling like a celebrity.
And that is a wrap on today's episode of Spotlight with Sahara Ramkissoon. Today's guest was Krisann Bedassie, the first person to be accepted into the Yale Young Global Scholars Program. Thank you so much, Krisann.
Thank you so much. Oh my God!
We have a gift for you.
That's so cool.
Like we give all our guests, we have a gift to show we care.
Oh, thank you so much, Sahara.
You're so welcome. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Spotlight with Sahara. Our next guest is a young ice cream shop business owner who reinvented very tune. Now remember, stay curious, stay courageous, and stay in the spotlight. Bye!
Hi everyone, my name is Krisann Bedassie, and you might know my name because I was recently admitted to Yale Young Global Scholars Program, and I'm the first person from Trinidad and Tobago. But guess what? I was just featured on Spotlight with Sahara. So if you don't know what you're watching Spotlight with Sahara.